When I was going over the questions, at first I read this one and I was thinking, crap, do I have an answer? Like it's going to look really bad if I don't come up with an answer. And then it just hit me. I can't believe that it took me so long to realize that, yeah, I have so many people that don't share my beliefs, that have even the opposing worldview, who I look up to.
It's a great question. I am honestly convicted because it took me so long to think of things. So got some work to do. But I would say for sure I look up to Gandhi. And I know it sounds like something that people would say like at a Miss America pageant, like who do you look up to? But as I've looked into this idea of civil disobedience, I always looked up to Martin Luther King Jr. growing up, and the way that he was able to change people through love. I keep coming back to this idea of love. And Martin Luther King Jr. visiting Gandhi, there's these pictures of him visiting Gandhi and how he went about changing the mindset of the British colonialism that was happening in India. And he did it always through this method of you think of civil disobedience, or just loving ways to confront something, loving ways to confront injustice. Again, always coming back to like what's going to heal the world, what's going to bring wholeness and connection. It's love. It's being able to stand in the midst of hate and people spitting at you and throwing things at you and cursing at you, and have the power to believe in something greater than you getting what you need in that one moment, but the power to love someone into seeing the world differently. And so Gandhi to me is somebody that he's been quoted to say, I sure like this Jesus fellow, I just don't like his followers. I think it gets at this point where regardless if you call yourself a Christian, you look at this ethic that Jesus had and the way he could change hearts and minds. And there was power there, power that flipped the whole Roman Empire upside down based on this radical ability that people had to love the least and to win over hearts while being persecuted. So Gandhi to me is someone I look up to because I see some of the same things that I see in Jesus, and he just lived it out in a different context and inspired change in our country through his interaction with Martin Luther King Jr. I have another person too. Can I do two or just one? I think I look up to Michael Gungor. And I know this would surprise my wife because I give her grief all the time because he upsets me often. But I look up to Michael Gungor because he was a worship leader. He was writing music, and I did both of those things, writing music for church and trying to make it big in the Christian music industry. And he did, but all the while he was feeling intellectually dishonest. And so I look up to him because he has left Christianity. I think he would call himself a oneness Buddhist. But I look up to him because he was brave to ask the hard questions. He was brave enough to be honest with his own questions. And I look up to him because I don't always feel that brave. I don't always feel like I'm safe enough to do that. And so I take steps back and I do things that are comfortable. But I look up to him because he's a true artist, and he asks hard questions, and he isn't afraid of leaving something so as to get another angle and look at it. And he's done that well over the years in his podcast. And I don't agree with him on much, but I appreciate his bravery as he's helped so many people ask good questions.
Someone I really look up to is my cousin David. He's just a couple years younger than me. We were always really close growing up. And he still lives his very Christian life, and he loves God and he loves Jesus. But I had this conversation with him one of the last times I saw him. And it was so enlightening and so cathartic, because he really heard me, and he really listened. We were still we've always been close, and we've always been friends, like really good friends. So we could, of course, just talk to each other about things. But, I mention I'm bisexual and he's like, that's fine. He's like, I love you. I don't care. That's fine. Live your life. And he doesn't think that I'm living in the wrong by not being a Christian, and we just had this really enlightening conversation because my whole family, basically my entire extended family, is Christian conservative. And there's so many things that my family don't know about me that I keep to myself because I don't want them to judge me and I don't want to hurt them. And but David always was that person that he can love me for who I am and he can love other people. And so my cousin David, he is living that, what I feel is that a true Christian lifestyle.
This is a superficial answer, but it just is what it is. So I really appreciate Serena Williams. I don't know if she's a Christian or not. That's the thing. I can't say about her personal life because I don't know her heart. But I just appreciate her drive and ability to be excellent and the fact that she just wins all the time. And even when she doesn't win, she still comes back and wins again. And I just feel like she's so cool. That's all. I fangirl over Serena Williams, 100%. I love Serena Williams. She's so awesome. I don't know why. I'm obsessed with her. Literally, I follow like everything on her for Instagram. I don't know why. I don't even follow some worship leaders. Like, I don't care about them. Serena Williams, I care about her though. I also appreciate Beyonce. Not her lifestyle sometimes, but her musicality and passion is good. Well, they're kind of getting more and more raunchy, so I don't really listen to the newer ones, but she's an artist. Like, she has musically worked on her talent, which is awesome.
When I was going over the questions, at first I read this one and I was thinking, crap, do I have an answer? Like it's gonna look really bad if I don't come up with an answer. And then it just hit me. I can't believe that it took me so long to realize that, yeah, I have so many people that don't share my beliefs, that have even the opposing worldview, who I look up to. Two easy examples right off the bat would be my mother and my grandmother. Both of them certainly believe in God. Both of them certainly, I would say, prescribe to the Christian belief of God. And although I don't respect a lot of the views that are informed by that belief, they're certainly good people. I could never argue that they're not good people, that they wouldn't do good things for the sake of being good, not for the sake of, reward or the avoidance of punishment after death. Those two women, they do good because it's what's good. So even stemming from that, I would say the youth pastor I had in high school, I greatly looked up to, and that's one of the main reasons why I wanted to become a youth pastor myself before I became an atheist. And I would say, even now, I haven't spoken to him in years, but I'd love to, and I think that I would still greatly respect him as an individual, even if there were plenty of his beliefs that I wouldn't necessarily respect.
A good friend of mine who is very, very different in his worldviews and his views about faith and about God. And he challenges me all the time. I look up to him a lot, though, because he knows his stuff and he has researched and he is very firm in what he believes and how he believes it. So when we sit down and have conversations about faith, even though he doesn't believe in Jesus as a savior, He doesn't believe in a lot of the things in the New Testament. He doesn't take the Bible as fact. We still can have these really open and deep and honest conversations about what it means to be a Christian, what it means to be a follower, to be a faithful person, to be a good person, what God intended us to do. Even though we don't rely on much of anything when it comes to that, he's a mentor to me in that respect, that his entire goal is to simply challenge me to understand my beliefs better, to be more secure in my faith and where I'm at and where I'm coming from. And I think that's a really powerful and important aspect to have in my life, to have somebody that says, why do you think that? How did you come to this conclusion? Because here's what I think, and here's how I came to it. And I really, really enjoy those interactions.
I've always had a lot of respect for the Christian mystics, those people who would still consider themselves Christian and consider, would be somebody who would say would have faith, but have risen above the surface level of most modern religion. They've kind of gotten away from the black and white thinking of things. They're comfortable in the gray. They realize that all religions and spirituality has a common thread. And so they've chosen to kind of get beyond that. One in particular would be a Catholic monk by the name of Richard Rohr, whose books I've always really enjoyed. And I've always really appreciated the way that he will take normally very decisive questions and give an answer that's completely out of left field and really makes you, rather than giving you an answer, he makes you think about the question deeper and almost puts the onus on you to come up with your own answers, because it's not about right or wrong answers, it's about the search for truth and the search for a higher meaning and a higher purpose. There's also a real sense of connectiveness, the sense that we're all bound together as humanity, and there's a certain spiritualness that runs through us all, and that may manifest in different ways. Religion is one of those ways that it manifests, and different religions manifest it in different ways, whether it's Christianity or Buddhism or Hinduism. There's certain strains that tend to pop up within those. That's why you'll find mystics in most religions. And I really appreciate that. It's not a path that I would necessarily go down, but I appreciate that there's people like that out there. And I wish there was more people like Richard Rohr who have a much higher plane of thinking. I guess I would call it high religion. I would say modern evangelicalism and Christianity would be low religion, because it's very black and white, it's very strict. It gives very set, certain answers to even very complex questions, whereas high religion is more about the search for meaning and understanding as opposed to set answers, and I really appreciate that, and it's something that I strive for even with myself.